Good morning. Thank you, Chair. Look, I just want to go back to this concept of that you're floating, that it is only about paying for news content when during the ACCC inquiry, and there's already quite a bit of data that the market share of Google that you've achieved through taking the advertising dollars of small business has been directly converted primarily from newspaper and radio and other news outlets. So I just want to step you back to that. How can you separate that it's okay for you to take advertising dollars from small businesses and that it's somehow a completely different function to the news articles that, that need to be paid for by these news outlets?
Thanks for the question, Senator. I would like to just talk through the changes in the Australian ad market because in an independent economist report commissioned from Alpha Beta, the Australian advertising market has grown from about 8.9 billion to 16 billion from 2002 to 2018. So the total advertising pie has grown substantially. In addition to that, the way that consumers consume media has changed considerably since the development of the internet. They have access to a lot more information than they used to, and digital advertising holistically, including for news media businesses who have strong digital advertising parts of their business as well, have grown equally. Now, there have been declines in print newspaper revenue, but the economics behind this are actually more driven by the debundling of classifieds from newspapers, the rivers of gold that we all used to hear about. Those used to be owned, operated by newspaper businesses. They are now in the hands of a lot of Aussie success stories like Seek, Domain, Real Estate, Domain and Real Estate, of course, which are still owned by Nine and News Corp. Now, that part of the market used to be 92% of the decline in newspaper revenue is from classifieds. Google does not operate in the classifieds market. We answer a query and we send a user off to a website. In addition to that, we don't use news content on our website. We show a link and a snippet and we send the user to that website.
Interrupt there. Sorry to interrupt you, but okay. As a previous advertiser on a wide range of retail platforms as a retailer, I think again you're shortcutting the reality, which is that in order to come up on the Google searches, the advertiser, the retailer, the business needs to pay. Yes, you may then direct them back to a website, but they have paid to be on that link. So, you know, what portion of the $16 billion of online of the advertising market does Google hold currently in Australia?
Senator, if I might just correct, we don't get paid to show the ads in response to a query.
No, you get paid to using ad search words, Google search words, clicks. Yeah.
No, not for the ads to appear. We can have pages with ads on them that nobody clicks on an ad and Google does not make any money. We only make money when a user clicks on an ad and actually ends up on the advertiser's website. This is the pay-per-click model of search advertising. You don't pay to appear.
No, but you do to get to the top of the page so that somebody will click on you. I think you're skipping over the reality of how you get to the top of the page to be listed, to be clicked upon.
Senator, are you talking about advertising or the organic search results? Because in neither case, you can bid to appear at the top, but Google doesn't get paid unless a user clicks on your ad.
Yes, but in order for somebody to click on your ad, for Google to be paid, you have to appear somewhere near the top of the search results. Correct?
No, Senator. So let me take a step back. There are two types of results.
I'm going to run out of time, and if I'm barking up the wrong tree, I don't want to waste time on a technical response for what is really going to take up a lot of time when I'm trying to get to the bottom of what portion of the advertising market that Google holds now of the $16 billion market?
It's a difficult one to calculate. We would estimate somewhere in the vicinity of 20% of the total advertising market.
would you? All right. If you care about Australians and Australian businesses, why would you make this threat to leave the market?
Senator, again, this is a worst-case scenario for us. It's not a threat. It's a reality that we have had to conclude after looking at the legislation in detail. We do not see a way that with the financial and operational risk that we could continue to offer a service to Australia. It's the last thing we want to do. We've equally been preparing for other scenarios, and we think we have a very clear, workable path to get there.
So if you say that the code is unworkable, but the legislation the government has introduced provides you with an opportunity to do commercial deals with media companies outside the code, so why won't you do these deals instead of making threats that seem designed to intimidate not just media companies but all Australians?
So, Senator, the combination of the forced payment for Google for links and snippets with the arbitration criteria, which is open-ended, creates an unmanageable risk for us. So even though deals can be done outside of the code, there is an inability for us to ensure that those get closed.
So isn't there a clear link that making this threat will have an impact, and it would be fair to say that it does speak to the market power identified by the ACCC in the Digital Platforms Inquiry?
Senator, once again, this is our worst case scenario. We do not want to be in this situation. We would love to get to an outcome where there is a workable code for all parties that meets the intention that the government set, which is to provide a bargaining framework for commercial negotiations in good faith between news media businesses and the digital platforms.